Hey, what's up, guys? It's Luke, and I just finished watching The Killing of a Sacred Deer on Blu-ray. Really interesting movie. I saw the trailer of it actually on Hereditary, which I watched not that long ago. I did a review. This was my last review, Hereditary. I did that last week. And I saw a preview for this movie, and it looked really, really interesting. So I went ahead and just bought the movie. I just tend to do that. I don't like to rent them. I just like to have them on Blu-ray or on physical media. I'm just a physical media kind of person. But anyways, I'd never heard of this movie, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, until I saw the trailer on Hereditary, and I'm glad I did, because I've been on this sort of indie horror kick right now. I've been really just enjoying movies that have a slower pace, things that are really thought-provoking, have really great cinematography, and that have really great acting performances. And this movie definitely has it. The first actor I want to bring up is Billy Keegan. At least I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure. I actually thought this was the actor that played Cyclops in the X-Men series, the younger Cyclops. The one like in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. I don't know, for some reason I just think he looks like that, but that's not the same guy at all. That guy's actually the guy in Ready Player One, and he's actually a big name actor here in the United States. I think Barry Keoghan is from overseas. He does mainly acting in, I think, England or the British Isles. I'm not 100% sure, because I saw him in the show Chernobyl, which as you know, I recently watched as well, and he was in the episode where, there were some animals that had to be killed, and he was a very frightened kid. But this guy is amazing. His portrayal of this sort of psychotic, mental kid in The Killing of a Sacred Deer is just incredible. The backstory is, and I'll share this without spoiling the movie, the backstory is that his father died, and he wants some sort of justice. He feels like he blames the main character, who's played by Colin Farrell, who we'll talk about in just a second. He kind of blames him for his death, and he's like, well, there needs to be some sort of one-for-one justice, but he doesn't have any sort of, it doesn't seem like he has any kind of malice. He's just kind of this, not monotone, but he seems like kind of a just loosey-goosey, happy-go-lucky kind of character that doesn't have any ill will towards the main other characters in the movie. He's kind of like the bad guy in the movie. But the way he acts is totally just really, he doesn't act like a bad guy, okay, per se. He just acts like a really weird kind of psycho crazy guy, maybe with some psychological problems, but I just found his performance mesmerizing. He was really, really incredible. It's funny, every time, I recommend don't watch this movie with the subtitles on if you do, because every time it came on, the subtitles said like eerie music, so I think it would have been better for that music to cue me in without me actually seeing the words there. I think it would have made the experience of watching the movie a whole lot better. But anyways, Barry's performance was so good. I really think you should see this movie just for him alone. But besides him, Colin Farrell's in this movie, and I remember Colin Farrell from being Bullseye in the movie Daredevil from way back in the early year 2000s, and him playing like sort of action roles. He is not in an action role. He's kind of like in a very serious role here, a very subdued role, something that I'm not really used to seeing Colin Farrell in. And so I didn't even recognize that it was him. I mean, I recognized him because of his face. He had a big beard on for this role, but his demeanor was just so different than I'm used to seeing. I was really struck by his performance. And he had a very, I would say, detached sort of character. A very rich doctor who didn't show a lot of emotion until towards the end of the movie, when he has to make some pretty life-shattering decisions. And you really see the change from when he begins to the end, where he almost is emotionless I mean, he has emotion and he has some caring, and you can kind of feel that, but it's portrayed in a very interesting way. But by the end, the exterior of his self, his person, totally changes when he has to again make these really crazy decisions at the end. Nicole Kidman is also in this movie, and she looks great. I don't know how old she is, but wow, she is stunning in this movie. She plays the mom, and there's also two kids who also do a great job of acting. Um, I don't want to give away the plot, but I think there's some dark comedy in this movie as well, when the rest of the family kind of has to make a case for themselves, and they're kind of explaining um, to Colin Farrell what's so good about them, and it's almost like they're trying to apply for a job, and I think you'll know what I mean if if you've seen the movie. But if you haven't, it's kind of interesting to look at. They place Colin Farrell in this very sort of unenviable and impossible situation that he has to make an impossible choice. And so I think there are elements of this movie that are fantastical, but realistic enough that you don't really notice the sort of the fantasy element, because something happens to some of the characters that is really unexplained, and it just seems like it's the main, I guess, the villain that Barry plays. It's his doing that creates all these problems for the family, but it doesn't seem like he actually has any power or anything like that in terms of mystical power. But these things befall the main characters that just rip them apart, and it's really interesting to see, and it's really not really explained, but it's okay. I didn't even mind that it wasn't explained. Anyways, I highly recommend Killing of a Sacred Deer. I really highly recommend this movie. If you want to see it, and you know me, you can borrow it from me. I totally let you borrow it. But if you haven't seen it and you don't know me, you're just watching me on the YouTubes, I recommend checking it out and leaving a comment telling me what you thought about the movie. I loved it, and I can't wait to see more from A24. I have The Witch coming in. I hear that's a slow burn sort of movie, and I'm gonna rewatch Mother, because I think I'll enjoy watching that another time. So we'll see. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you again next time.